Alright, I am rebuilding my crappy portfolio website. I've had this for years and it's out of date, it's ugly, it runs on WordPress, and there's nothing wrong with WordPress, but I want to build something that's a bit more creative, a bit more unique. And so most of my time right now goes to product rise. I've been working on it so much that I feel like I kind of want to do something else for a change. And that little change will be this project. And it will be a bit of a challenge. It is currently the 10th of August, 2:45 p.m. And I want to give myself like 1 hour, 1.5 hours to replace this with a custom website built using Cursor. And Cursor, for those who don't know, Cursor is this insanely smart interactive development, whatever, this programming software. And I've been using it a bunch. It's great. And basically I'm just going to program a website from scratch. Basically hoping to replace this crappy portfolio website. Now, what I've done already, and so this is not going to be an instructional video, this is just going to be me showcasing what I'm doing. I'm going to be explaining some parts of what I do, but mostly this is just going to be a recording. Those who are watching, you can just watch what I'm doing. I won't explain everything, but what I want this video to be is basically like this record of, not a record, but like this little, basically I want to capture my thought process, the steps that I do to replace this, to show to others how insanely fast you can build websites with AI, especially if you already have the creativity and the mind and the vision of the website. I simply just desperately want to replace this crappy thing. I want to be able to share more notes easily. I want to share my thoughts more easily. Right now I'm doing that mostly on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has lots of character limits that I just want to write more and share more with the world. And three, I don't know, that's probably it. So anyway, this is not going to be an instructional video, but I do hope that this is going to inspire some of you to start creating, or maybe start to create your own little things, little projects on the internet with Cursor or any other AI tool that you're using. What I've done already, and this is important, I've already created basically a hello world code base. And this is something that I've created as one of the first things that I ever did was I created this little code base. And the only thing that it really does is that once I run it locally, it will show, and let's make sure that this opens. It will show just a hello world statement. And back then I changed it, so I really, let's say it's probably this file. Yeah, it says here, hello moon, blah 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 blah. It said this at first. I wanted to say is check, basically like, hey, if I change this, what happens then on this homepage? And as you can see, oh my god, it's slow as hell. This is basically the code base of currently a one-page website, and that one page just has one line of text. But hopefully in an hour or 1.5 hours, this will be a proper website, a good replacement of this WordPress website, and hopefully I'll be able to showcase some of the steps that I'll be taking. One more thing that I want to say is that this code base, for the technical viewers here, this is built with Laravel, specifically the tall stack. So that's Tailwind, Alpine, Livewire, and Laravel. And those four combined, I've used them to create lots of products, lots of projects, including Product Rise is also built with this tall stack. It's insane. For me, it works. There's plenty of others, plenty other technical foundations that you can build on. You can choose whatever you want. I've decided to always work with the tall stack, and it's been doing great for me so far, and so I'm sticking to it. So if you're familiar with Laravel, then this folder structure will be very familiar to you as well. Anyway, finally, the idea that I have, because I am a marketer, I want to be a bit more creative. I see a regular WordPress website and I'm like, oh, that's just a random theme that you slapped on and that's it. So my idea is, and let's open Microsoft Paint on the internet. I found this one. Let's see. Yep. So there's an online replacement for Paint, and I've got my little drawing tablet here, that I haven't used for ages. I'm just going to show what I want to build. So let's select this this little tool. So basically it's going to be mostly a one-page portfolio website with a sort of like a cool blog effect. So this is going to be hire.co. This is the actual domain name. This is my last name .co. So, you know, for those who are wondering, then it's going to have a bunch of blanks here, just a really quick about me, my profile picture, my whatever, my email, or I don't know. And then right here at the bottom, and let's see if I can expand this. Let's go. Yep. Right here at the bottom, there's going to be my notes. What I want is basically a timeline here. That looks ridiculous, but okay. And the whole idea is that notes are written on paper. And if you crumble a piece of paper, can I actually crumble this? No, this is rather important. If you crumble a piece of paper, then that's going to be the note. And basically I want to have this right here. Let's see where it is. Where's my cursor? Yep. I want to have these little folded pieces of paper, one to the left, one to the right, one to the left. So it's basically going to be like this trail of notes that, you know, the latest are here. So 10th of August, and then this one is from the 3rd of August. And if you click one of these notes, like you click on this little thingy, then it starts to unfold, and you can read whatever I have to say. And so that's the idea. And before we head into cursor, let's see how long we're going. We're already 7 or 8 minutes in this video, so I'm already talking way too much. What I did this morning is I shared my idea with Claude, my preferred AI tool. And so what I have is I explained what I did. At this point, I didn't really know the technical stuff that I had to build, because in my mind, I was thinking like, hey, I'm going to actually have to create images of this node, this crumbled node unfolding as if it were like a animated frame by frame. Anyway, I want everything rendered server side. You know, I like SEO, I like to be found on Google and on AI tools, so server side rendering all the way. The animation needs to be snappy, it needs to be good. And let's see, that's about it. I'm building in the 12 stack. Yep. Oh yeah, and I also want to work with a proper CMS now, because that's not something that I've built myself yet. And so that's all hopefully going to be included in this video. So basically creating the idea, creating the little node thingy, and having a CMS run everything. And so basically I went back and forth with Claude for a while, and Claude suggested Filament, which is this, I don't know, I guess an open source CMS that runs on Laravel, which I'll be installing. I have not worked with it before, so I'll see if it works. It probably will actually, but you know, this will be the first time that I've ever seen it. And let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, and so I asked Claude, like, hey, what are the 2 ways to do this? Is there, like, can you just help me decide whether or not we go with route A, which is, you know, using actual PNG images to animate this unfolding piece of paper, or can we do this using CSS and JavaScript? And I didn't expect it really, but Claude said, oh, you have to do the CSS JavaScript way, it's very easy. And so I asked it to, you know, just create an example for me. And this is what Claude came up with. And you can see that I actually think it's pretty good, even though it doesn't really load. Oh, there you go. And so this is basically my sketch, right? So a piece of paper and it unfolds and there it is. That's pretty cool. And this is actually the final version. I had a prior version here that's, I'm not sure if I can open this. No, this is pretty good to me. This is pretty great. What I wanted, so first this was a blank piece of paper, and then the content suddenly appears on it after it's loaded. What I wanted was, since the title of each node will be apparent on the index page, on this little blog rule page, I want to also unfold the title. That's a pretty cool fact, I think. And so this is basically what I want. So basically I'm leaving like this trail of notes, like, oh, I'm just writing something, I'm folding it, I'm crumbling it, and I'm throwing it on my website. That's basically the idea. I'm pretty sure this idea has been done by someone else before. I've not seen it, but yeah, probably done a dozen of times already, but I just want to see if I can code that, create it, and push it live in a matter of 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to shut up and I'm going to mostly just work, be focused on building this. And we're already 12 minutes in. I'm talking way too much, so I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to use Claude. I'm going to try to keep to the auto model selection, so I don't run up my token costs. I want to stay within my billing. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'll try to refrain from using any of these more expensive models, and I'll just go with the default automatic one. Anyway, yeah, here we go. And I'll be talking bits and pieces here and there, because there's lots that I didn't share already that I have already thought about. But let's see where we strand. So website, which is fucking hell. I have to open this one with its current its total stack. That main idea of does that work? Yep. Can I just throw this in there? I think so. Is that all? Yeah, cool. Go to the bottom, please. Okay. And then here's the HTML. Here's the actual HTML created. Let's see, the styling and colors will be determined later. Please keep them simple for now. As for the current post, I want you to create a homepage which will contain a portrait image, headline, a bit of text, social sharing buttons, and an email button. Underneath will be my notes timer, each note will be from my software notes. So a notes page from the notes, whatever. Let's start with this. Create a blank form that I can review and provide feedback on this. I want you to also think of a good folder structure for images, especially when I'm going to be using Filaments. I have experience with them, so I don't know how images will be managed in this case. Alright, so basically what coding with AI is mostly waiting. And that's over exaggerated. At least you'll have plenty of time to hydrate. And so now there's time for me to talk about what's happening. So this current code base that I have is basically just a copy paste of a little project that I started with years ago. I wanted to create a Hello World project using Laravel, and I did, and I made a copy of that, duplicated it, and that's now my hire.co project folder. There's really nothing in here except for the default Laravel folders and stuff like that. What I have done already though, which is important to share, is I have created a repository on GitHub that, basically, and if you're not familiar with GitHub, but you are familiar, or you are, you have the ambition to start coding your own projects using AI, then you absolutely 100% need GitHub. Figure it out, make sure that you've got that set up, because otherwise AI is going to fuck things up for you, and without proper version control, you're going to be screwed. So yeah, that's a bit of me talking. Now let's see what Cursor came back with. And so basically, when I'm using Cursor on serious projects, I'm using Claude Opus models, or even Fable or Sonnet. Those are, to me, they are the best of the best. Since I'm using Auto, it's going to be free for me. It's going to be included in my monthly plan. But I don't really know which model it's using. It might be Grok. It probably is, since Elon Musk bought Cursor. And to be fair, I haven't really used Grok before for programming, so I don't know. Maybe this whole video will be a disaster. Let's see. I'm going to have to do some reading. Near empty Laravel, that's correct. I have a database. Yeah. Okay, that's good. I have an admin URL, so that's going to be cool. So usually when I wanted to create new content, I had to push my code base live and I had to deploy, which is a pain in the ass. So hopefully now I won't have to do that. Categories I don't want, comments I don't want yet. Migrating all WordPress posts is for me not important at this moment. Let's see, okay, it's all good. This is probably good. Social icons, no, it's purchased. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. So I want to keep this simple. For images, do not separate social portrait nodes images. Just one big giant images folder, please. Okay. Oh fuck. I was a bit premature on that. Content images change often. Paste URLs after uploading. Okay, you know what? I've never used this, so I'm just going to start and see what I end up with and go from there. I don't want to figure this all out before I get my feet wet, basically. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is interesting. So the notes table has a title, slug, yep. A kicker, I don't know what the fuck a kicker is. As for database schema, please get rid of kicker colon and call it category. I would rather stick to WordPress taxonomy. Kicker, I've never heard of it. Body, yeah, raw HTML. Okay, that's probably fine. Excerpts, don't see myself using that for now, but let's do it. Word counts. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, that's obviously why I need word count. Is one of the creative ideas that I had was that the size of each crumbled node, and I love things like this, I want to add some little creativity to the stuff that I build. The size of each node will be based on the word count. So if I have just a short node, the little crumble of paper will be small. If it's a large node with many words, the bulk will be bigger. So once readers land on this page, they will see like, hey, which posts of mine are long, which ones are short. So that's why word count is pre-computed and stored in the database. Cover image I don't need no cover image for my nodes, get rid of it. However, replace it with OG image, because I do want my nodes to look pretty on socials. OG images are underrated, really underrated. Most people don't even think about them. OG images, they will determine how many people will click on your posts when they are shared. Meta title, descriptions, timestamps, yep, okay. Front end pages, that's good. Yeah, animation, okay. Yeah, so this has all been thought of with my Claude chat already. Filament setup not yet, but I'm probably fine with that. Okay. So since I don't have that much feedback, as for my decisions, let's just copy paste this. Portraits, fixed in fixed. Let's use the file name Hugo portrait.jpg. I'll edit later. And see, this is why this is probably a frustrating video for you to watch, because I fix all my typos even when AI will probably understand what I'm saying. Okay, nobody raw HTML. Oh, fucking hell, no, just raw HTML. I don't want Markdown. Raw HTML is fine. Old content, no, old content is shite anyway. Start fresh. Project section, current sign is pro, yeah. Drop for now, we'll add that later. Later, skater, Jesus Christ. Filament version, stay with current version for now. Okay, and so what I'm going to do, and this is the magic of cursor, I'm going to change it to agent. Please, always say please, please implement this now. So if you haven't seen cursor ever before or any other code editor, then prepare to have your mind blown, because right now I've got all these files and cursor will read, find them, execute commands. Oh, it will start with installing the Filament package. But anyway, so what? Oh, fucking hell. Okay, it's going to do composer. Okay, so this actually might take a really long time in this video. We're already 25 minutes in and I've not done a single thing yet. Anyway, so cursor will now start to create this project. When I can just sit around and, do whatever in the meantime. So yeah, basically now that allows me to talk a bit more. Why don't I care about my current blogs? Because they're pretty shit anyway. There's not much content, and also this whole website was built ages ago. This is not relevant anymore. I'm going to scrap this. I don't even know if all these pages are indexed. There's only 8 pages indexed, and I don't care. I couldn't care less if they were to disappear from the web. So yeah, that's also, I am a SEO boy, so obviously I'm going to make sure this website remains well optimized for Google Schmoogle. So I'll be doing sitemaps, breadcrumbs, structured data, obviously, but that can all be done in a couple of seconds after the first version is set up. So it's going to install all the necessary packages. Hopefully that won't take too long. And then once it's done that, it will also create migrations. So let me just already log into my local database and see. Yeah, so basically this, and so if you're not familiar with any of this, then this is the stuff that you can safely skip and push forward to. But with a proper website, you're pretty much always going to be having databases, which includes backend, which includes running migrations, thinking about proper schema, and deploying that will also make it a bit more tricky because your actual server will have a database that's different from your local database. So that's something to think of. Let's see, do I have it here? I think so. And so my local databases are pretty much a mess, but let's see if I can find the one that we just created, because I have run my migrations prior to this video. I did run the migrations. Let's see where it shows. No, nothing to migrate. This is all me just failing to duplicate. Yeah, so here I did the migrations. It created a new database called hire.co on my MySQL connection. So it should be here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. And so this currently has 3 tables, a bit more, a bunch of tables which are just the regular default Laravel tables. I will be creating at least one extra, which will be the notes database table, which Cursor already planned. And Jesus Christ, I hope that will be finished running this soon. Otherwise, I'll have to basically pause the video and skip to it. You know what? Let me just do that. I'll just waste time for a bit, wait for this to stop running, and once it has stopped running, I will show you what it has. So, all right, so it seems to have finished. I had to wait quite a bit, but let's just have a look at everything that it has done. So what you're seeing here on the left, all the files that have a color are either edited or they are new. So Cursor went ahead and created this migration file, for example, which shows that will create a new database table called notes, and this will be the columns, this will be the database schema. So yeah, it created a bunch of files, and Cursor then shows what's next. So let's actually have a look. So before we can actually run this locally, I will have to migrate. Oh, it says here that Cursor has already done that. So see, this is the tricky thing. Cursor has changed a lot since I first started using it. And now, actually, let me refresh this. It's actually migrating fucking things. So it's editing my database without me even knowing, which sometimes can be cool, but most of the times I really don't like that. But it has done so anyway, because this is a new project. I haven't really given it any rules. So yeah, basically what's left for me to do is to run this. And let me compile the build. And basically, you don't have to remember what this does. Basically, this is creating a bunch of files from, well, basically it's creating CSS styling files, cache files that it will lean on when I run the server, which is this command. And this is all Laravel stuff. But now, let me see, where are we? This can be gone, this can be gone. Yeah, so here's my hello world page. Now, is this still live actually? Did it remove this? Yeah, okay, so there you go. This is my home page as Cursor built it, and you can see that these little pieces of paper, they are here. What I want to check before I go ahead, I want to check what it has actually done. Has it actually seeded my database? So select all from hire.co.notes, and let's see what it has done. So yeah, actually, and this is MySQL. So this is basically me communicating with whatever is in the database through SQL. And so Cursor has made up these 3 notes, which is pretty cool. So this one has a word count of 69. The first one, let's see, it's probably chronological order. Published ad, created, oh yeah, so published ad, there, okay, let's actually have a look. So yeah, the size is barely noticeable. Let's just see what happens when I say update notes, set word count equals 700, where ID is 1. So I'm gonna have to do it like this. And so what I've now done is select all from hire.go notes. what I've done is I changed this. And I want to know, is this going to be reflected by the size of this little piece of paper? Like, that's what I talked about in Claude. So I'm pretty sure that cursor should have found a way. Yeah, there you go. So this piece of paper is bigger because, oh my god, this is terrible. Oh my lord. Yeah, because the word count of that node is bigger. But as you can see, this is really shit. This is just terrible. So we're going to have to do a lot of changes here. But what I'm curious for is actually the admin side. So I've never worked with Filament before. Filament, whatever you call it. And so logging into the admin side of things will be the first time I'm doing so. And I actually don't know. Yeah, this is... Okay, so this is based on an email address, which I don't want... Well, actually, let's have a look. Account, login, password, change that. So is that in my environment file? Probably not. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and so I need to log in. How can I set a password? So can I set this in the M file? What's the standard way of doing this if I have not set up email on this server, which I wasn't planning to? And so let's get rid of the agent and just go back to ask mode here. So basically there's a couple of things, and I'm already going to just collect some feedback. So this is probably good, this is good, this is pretty decent. The paper is one number. Oh my god, this is pretty... Yeah, it is funny, but you know, the styling here can be much better. Anyway, so don't put the password in environment. Okay. Oh my lord. Okay. That's ridiculous. So let's go to admin. And this will be the first time where I'm seeing the Filament backend, the user panel basically. The password is password. Where do I set this? Ah, okay, so that's pretty smart actually. It's just in my users table, which is the default in Laravel. Should have been able to think of that. So this is hashed, so the database doesn't store the real version. If I go here and get rid of this and password. Let's see, remember me please. Okay, that's shite. Let's do this. Oh, god damn it. Copy fields without the quotations. Does this work? No, it doesn't. Oh my lord, I'm using the wrong email. So this is why I never do this. I'm really bad at this. Okay, so there you go. It recognized this. And so for any viewers, you can assume that I did not forget to change this password. And I'll also be throttling the amount of requests that you can attempt it, because, you know, this is a pretty transparent surface for hackers to start, you know, hacking their way in, which I don't want. This is taking ages. What's happening here? I have got an error already actually. Is this, yeah, this is recent. Okay, so now here comes the fun part, or the not so fun part. Where is my Laravel log? Which should be here. This one. And so I'm just going to wipe it. So any logs that show up, I can read. So refresh this. This will create a error, which will show up in my log. Fucking hell, it's slow as hell. Come on. Anyway, in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to have some big feedback. So I guess this is really the difference between Claude Opus, which I used in my Claude chat, and the auto chat that Cursor has used for this project so far. I am just really not a big fan of the way that this little animation came into view. So I click a block or a note and it opens up, which is exactly what I want. But then it starts loading here. There's a loading animation on the top of my screen, which is barely visible. And then it opens this thing in a new view, which is just terrible. I really don't want this. The admin side of things did work, by the way. And so I can go to my notes. This is pretty cool. I suppose I have a functioning dark mode, obviously. That's exactly what I needed. Jesus. So I should be able to edit notes from here without ever having to deal with, basically managing content directly through SQL in my database, which I have been doing so far, which is quick, but it's also tedious. Anyway, let's see. There's an error. Okay. Say that this is pretty shit. This really needs optimizing. There's timeouts for 30 seconds on the admin side of things. Anyway, so the way that nodes unfold is good. However, it is also showing a loading indicator at the top of the page. Once it's completed, the actual page fully refreshes and the view of a note is opened, which is completely different from the piece of paper that was just unfolded. This is not what I need. What I need, piece of paper unfolds from the index page homepage. Once fully unfolded, the let's see. There's a way for me to do this. The content of the note is loaded onto the piece of paper, and the slug of the note is shown in the web address. Basically, I want a seamless transition from homepage to note detail page while keeping a snappy animation of the unfolding piece of paper. When users navigate land directly on a note detail page without coming from the index. So for direct traffic, for example, I don't want the unfolding animation, but I want all the code source code to be server side. Is this possible? I'm gonna have to figure out. So there's some weird stuff happening here. So I can see that there's categories, there's stuff for me to edit, which is pretty cool. Where can I actually edit that? That will be clear once this bug is fixed. Oh wow, that's quick. Okay. Yes, possible. Unfolds, good. Yeah, so this is shite. I want this gone. That page is dark. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Scale the progress bar. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes. Okay, let's fix this. Then, while you're at it, please. So let's do some designing then. Oh my lord. So, black background, get rid of it. Pick something clean. Look at product rights. Oh my lord. So basically, I want it to be simple. Look at background colors on the product rights website. This is like a light grayish, which I like. Get the background colors for inspiration. Paper background is white. Green, typical paper color. Edge. A subtle border color to indicate border of the paper. Then let's look at the detail page of a piece of paper, and that will be, yeah, detail page of a note must have title on top, same position, exact same position as what the paper unfolding ends with. Date published, date update is not necessary, author is not necessary, words is not necessary. Okay, so that's it. And content. Okay. What I do want is breadcrumb. Like this. Notes. And it's clickable. And schema markup for the breadcrumbs. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so then on the home page, let's go back. Jesus, this is terrible. How do I this is horrible. When I go back to the home page from a node, it will load the final stage of the unfolding prior, and it will remain stuck there. When users go back from a node to the home page, the clean initial load state of the home page must show. On the home page, each row on the timeline must be vertically centered. Right now, big pieces of paper are not vertically centered next to their respective titles. Metadata. Please fix this. So at this point, the video will already be like 50 minutes long. I have spent a good chunk waiting for Cursor to run all these dependencies and installed all these libraries. So, you know, I've not worked on the website itself, but yeah, we do have a basic page. We do have an admin site. Actually, let me fix that in a separate window. I have some timeout issues on my Filament admin page. See laravel.log. Can we fix this, please? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yep, go ahead, please. So once we have all this done, I'm going to commit it to GitHub, and that will be my volume, my version 0.1 basically. And then, you know, the good thing then is I can take a break, I can step away, I can work on other projects and come back to this later. And just basically load a new save file and continue building. That's the whole thing why you need GitHub. You know, when you screw things up, you can always fall back on your last committed version of code bases or files or whatever. So you can see here the code base is using Tailwind for styling. So I'll basically have a Tailwind configuration which has all basically my brand colors. So I can change these quite easily, my fonts, my color sizes, blah 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 blah. And then throughout the app, it will use those styles. So you can see here on the app blade file, which is basically like the theme, if you can compare it with that, it has gradients, it has whatever, and that's taken from this from these classes that are defined globally, if I'm correct. That's usually how these things goes. It's still loading, it's triggering multiple sub-agents again, which in my opinion is just annoying. You know, basically Cursor is trying to take control away from me. And I'm using the auto model here, which I don't fully trust actually. You know, on my serious projects I always use Claude Opus, Claude Sonnet, or Claude Fable, which I trust better. But now, you know, it might be running a very stupid croc model, which I've not tested before, which I'm not familiar with, and there's no way of me knowing, which makes me a bit hesitant to really give it control like this. I have, but I'm not really sure what the end result will be. Anyway, it seems to still be having a autoloader thing. Yeah. Oh my lord. So yeah, the composer autoloader, that was the thing that took ages and why I had to pause the video, and it's going to do this again. So again, my laptop is really old, it's slow, and this can take a while. So I might have to pause this video again to see yeah, what happens. So this has been built, this is compiling. Okay, let's hurry this along, and let's see if I can rebuild this and execute this locally. Just going to wait. No, I'm not going to wait. Fuck it. Refresh. Probably the styling will have been landed by now. If it has been built, yeah, it has. There you go. That's a bit better. That's the color from Product Rise, which I'm happy with. These button thingies are terrible, but actually I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see how this unfolds. It doesn't. God damn it. Can I go back? Let's see if the schema is there though. Schema, the org, yeah, so home nodes, yeah, this is good. So schema has been done under breadcrumbs, that's nice. But what I don't like is that my animation is gone. It might have something to do with this agent running the composer autoloader again, which is just taking forever. Ugh. Anyway, let's unfold this. It's still loading, man. Yeah, so this is not working out that great so far. Anyway, there's so much stuff that I want to build on this idea. Basically this timeline here will keep going down with every node I have, some small, some big. And I actually want this to remain minimalistic. Pagination, you know, going from the first 10 to the next 10 and the next 10 nodes. I think it will probably be nice to have like this little garbage bin icon that will contain a bunch of prior nodes that I will then empty out on the page. And that will, you know, it sounds complicated, but that is probably easily doable with a bit of CSS and JavaScript, and that will further make this website stand out. And this is just, you know, a fun little thing that I kind of like building these kind of things. To just basically leave a trail of nodes. Finally, before this ever goes live, I seriously have to also think of a way to showcase my current projects and my past projects that I'm working on. And what's the status of those? Am I still working on some of them, or have I sold them, or have I neglected them? I want this page to showcase that. And anyway, I'm going to pause the video again because this can easily take half an hour on my laptop. So I'm just going to leave this running. This agent did perfectly fine. It did everything it had to do. It changed the styling, and it went from the home page to an opened node. And it seems as if the final detail page of a node should be matching the unfolding animation of that piece of paper. Once this loads, god damn it. Yeah, there you go. And so that will probably be good. However, and that's something I have to think of as well, Claude did this a lot better, where a node made the background transparent. So basically when you come from the homepage and you open a node, basically there needs to be this little spotlight effect happening that will darken the background. I don't have that yet, but I do want that actually. So once you come from the homepage, the actual background of the homepage goes out of view and only the node will open. That's something I'll have to do as well. So this is much better executed than what Cursor has done so far, but I'll have to keep working on this basically. So anyway, this is a good one. I'm going to close this. And let's see how long this is going to take. Yeah, so it's 4:30 p.m. now. Let's just wait a bit and see how long this takes. All right, so it has all finished running, and as a result, we now have. Oh. Louis, kom eens hier. Louis, kom maar. The little puppy is barking. Kom maar. Zoek. Right. Oh, Lucia. All right. So this for me is version 0.1, where we have, let's move this out, where we have the little pieces of paper, and upon clicking they should unfold, but they don't. They instead load a page that resembles a piece of paper. It includes some of the things that I like. There's schema, there's breadcrumbs, so partially this is pretty good. Another part that I like is that the admin side of things is working, or seemingly working quite well. It's really basic, but I don't mind. So there's 3 nodes that were auto-injected in the database, but I can create new ones, or at least it seems like that. So create a node. This is a test node, and let's just see. Oh my lord, okay. Oh, I hate when that does it. Okay. Hello world. So this is an HTML editor, which for me is fine because AI is perfectly able to turn text into HTML. So that works, and this allows me to embed YouTube videos, create separate columns, create grids or whatever. Basically, I can build my own pages however I want instead of having to work with a limited text editor, which I don't like personally. Publish date is today. Let's see. Okay. Word count is automatically calculated. Okay, so there's some logic. All right, let's just select a random OG image. And let's see what happens. So it's uploading. So I wonder, where is it uploading to? Actually, because I've not worked with this yet. I believe it should be uploading to the storage. Public, let's see, where are you at? I wonder. So GSC image, can we find that now in our code base? No. Okay, so I might not know exactly how this works yet, but let's see how this works. And okay, create. And so this is the CMS side of the code base that I have not tested or worked with ever before. So this is quite interesting, but it does look pretty slick, if I say so. So I just created a node, a new entry in the database, which I can check here. Oh, it's not blocks, it's nodes. And so there should be 4 of them, yep. The image URL. Oh dear. So that's why I wasn't able to find it. It hashes the name, which I think I should be able to find. Can I? No, without the file extension. Also, no. Alright, so that's a bit of a bummer. I'm not sure what happens there. Anyway, refresh, and nothing shows up. God damn it. That's annoying. Is that because there is parts missing here? Might be. There might be some logic or missing category. Anyway, that's probably easily fixable. What I do want is to basically do the biggest thing, and that is to reinstate this. Oh my god, what was that? That's terrible. So refresh, a hard refresh, clear the cache. This loading takes forever, man. This looks pretty good. Oh my god, and there's still the loading bar on top. Okay, so time for some overall feedback. Please check my welcome blade or my home blade. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Yeah. This one is removed, I believe. And notes. Oh dear. Notes are presented on there. I have some big feedback to implement. So this is a big issue again. So let's say I never want to see the default Livewire loading progress bar ever again. Then let's see. This unwrapping looks pretty good, but then when I hit back, this little piece of paper is ruined. Oh my god. Well, to be honest, this is completely shit. Okay, the loading unfolding animation is okay, but when I trigger it from the home page by clicking a piece of paper, I want to keep having the background as the home page, as if the crumpled piece of paper is on top of the home page. I want to achieve this with a spotlight effect, similar to how Claude implemented it on this demo page. See code example below. That way the effect of unfolding a crumpled piece of paper is really immersive. Video game language. Also, I want to copy row with mouse. I added a new test node, ID 4, but it's not shown on the index. Why not? Why not? Here's my database table nodes. Okay. What else? What else? Well, when I open a node from the home page and then click back to the home page, the page seems to well, how do I explain this, man? The node is not returned to its original crumpled state. Instead, it shows a first on It shows in one of the first unfolding stages. This is wrong. Also, it doesn't react to a hover, whereas the others move slightly. How come? Okay, because when I open this, it's nice. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's just the worst. So, go back to home. So on my laptop, this is really slow, but once I put this live on my server, which is fast, then this will be lightning bolt fast, really. And I like this effect, really. But, you know, when I open this terrible thing, okay, each node should have a close button at the top right of the paper. Clicking that will fold it back to its crumpled state, leading to the home page. Can this be arranged? Please share your thoughts and considerations. So I always like to end my chats with this, because this is an open question. You don't want to make a suggestive question where AI is more likely to go with your suggestive approach. Rather, you want to ask an open question, share your thoughts and considerations, because this usually leads to a bit of back and forth, which you should want, because you want you as the navigator, you want to be able to make the right calls and the right shots based on what AI returns. So let's just start with this, because if I get this down and I can find my way around this CMS, then that would be great. Yeah, and so that's probably most of the basics of the website done. And then I'm just going to call it a day, because this video is already like an hour, 10 minutes long. I don't know, an hour and 10 minutes, which for me is fine today. I'll continue tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. Anyway, so we started with this little chat from Claude, and this just goes to prove that Claude is just insanely smart. This is not even their smartest model. Opus 5 is already released. You've got Fable. But still, this does it so much better. This creates that little, it keeps the homepage in view, but it creates a spotlight effect, whereas the background is made more, there's a bit of a transparent hue over it, where the node really gets in your face. It moves to the front, which is exactly what I want. There's a close button which folds it back to its crumpled state again, and this is just exactly what I want, basically. And so I'm hoping that cursor, which seriously is just, I'm not a big fan of using the auto model for this specific reason. Yeah, it's free, included in my account, but it's just not as smart, and it asks I need to push it a lot harder in order to get the same results, whereas with with Claude, I could probably do this easy. So it's doing so much work here, where this is relatively simple. You know what? I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to go to Opus 4.8, and let's do it again, mate. And we'll see what happens. It'll try to read all the necessary files, obviously, but I'm not using that many tokens. This will probably be just one question. It will give its answers. I will review. I will commit to a solution, and it will be built. And what I can also do is I can do this stage, this decision-making stage, with the smart model, and have the execution done by the cheap and dumb model. Yeah, so again, with cursor, you never know what model is used when you don't select when you go with the automatic selection. You simply just cannot tell, unfortunately. But I'm just expecting it to be one of the dumbest, basically. So let's see what it's thinking right now. Yeah, okay. Well, this will take a sec, and then this will be executed. I'm, by the way, I'm not a big fan of these designs. It doesn't really look like paper. It looks like a chewing gum, like a ball of chewing gum. It's pretty ugly, so that needs to be refined. I do like the little shadow though. And the unfolding is also just not that great. And this loading bar is terrible. Really want to get rid of that as soon as possible. Oh, the background, as you can see, is currently back into view, so it's already... Wait, what? Have I missed this? It seems to be... Oh, okay, yeah, so this is the still loading screen. And then once it's done loading, it will basically go to the server-side rendered version of it, because this is all client-side. Then it goes to the server-side rendered version of it, where I will lose the background of where I came from. But that's kind of the thing that I really like about this ID. So let's see. This is all, oh my god. Okay, so what I'm thinking now is that it's pretty busy over at the cursor headquarters. Yeah, I don't know. Usually this is just a bit faster. Which is a shame. Shame! This database seeder is the thing that created the first 3 nodes for me, by the way. Which is not even what I asked for, but it went ahead and did it anyway. This file is... Okay, I just want to check how big some of these files are. Because usually when it's over 1,000 lines of code, I would kind of want to separate that. The home blades. This is the home page that we're constantly working on. Let's see what the image is here. So images. Let's see if we can load up our own images. Where is it? So in my opinion, it should be... Bloody hell. Although, if there is already one, please point me to the folder where I can store move images to. If it does not exist yet, please create it. It's still loading. My god, this is just the worst. So it's safe to say that this has crashed. Let's get rid of that. My god, okay. Go back to this agent, which is working hard. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, so this is time zone related. So if I change this to another value, then that should, I can do that in the backend, in the admin panel. Okay, it's time zone issues, that's fine. This is a interesting one. Despite being the biggest list. Okay, so it gave me option A. Where's option B, mind? It's not. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to say do it all. Oh fuck, I forgot to do that. Jesus Christ. You know what? Let me just implement option A and see what you got. Boy. It already exists. So public images. Oh yeah, of course. Okay, and there it is. There's the one that I uploaded. It's a bit of a shame that it didn't use the actual image name that I gave it, but okay. Let me just drag and drop my portrait in there, because that should, if I then, oh shit, please don't redo everything. So my ugly mug, let's close it right away. Yep. Come on, light. This is my laptop working really hard. Okay, serve this boy. And yep, it's serving. Reloads. Let's keep an eye on the console for any weirdness. Come on. Oh my god. This is so annoying. Fucking hell. I'm getting a bit tired of this, man. Okay, well, there's nothing. So, there are my notes. That looked okay, except for the fact that there's still no background, there's still no close button. And this is still the same. This is even worse somehow. Oh my lord. Christ. My portrait is there, which is nice. So we did one thing, okay. Oh my god, it's still thinking. Like, look at this amount of thinking that it's doing. Like, to be honest, like sometimes I feel like cursor is just taking me for a ride, man. And it's so incredibly slow. Look at this. And why should it do all the thinking? Should I just make it stop thinking at all? Like, yeah, that's... Well, it's almost there, I suppose, but... Like, in some ways, cursor is still the best tool that I've ever used. But in a lot of ways, it has also regressed quite a bit. Especially with the, they're trying to force agents on you, where you have to give them the keys and they will build whatever you want. But, as a developer, as a builder, or whatever you want to call it, I want to be always in control. If the AI does something that I do not like, then I want to exactly know what it did and why it did it. Whereas cursor, I feel like it's trying to make that a more difficult process for you sometimes. But look at this. I mean, instead of thinking, you could be doing, right? Okay, fuck off. Let's try that again. This was just the worst. So, no thinking, just do it. Fucking hell. Because in a way, well, no, let's not go there. So this was going to be a raw video, and it is. Like, a lot of this you can very safely skip, and skip to the end, and that will be a nice little project done. But you know, so far this is definitely taking a bit too long, man. Alright. What's this? Oh my god. Alright, so it added a bunch more CSS, styling, spotlight, okay. Can this just be gone, please? I don't want this at all. But alright. Yeah, so this is where all the styles are defined. It's fine. Although I do wonder. I don't give a fuck. Okay. Why would I want this? Why? Yeah, I'm going to fix that myself, you dumbass. What I always have, I have this little cheat sheet with me, always, where I always have the same redeploy commands. Basically, this is what deploying looks like for me. I clear the config, I clear the cache, I clear the view files, I clear route files, and I rebuild it, and then I say, oh fuck, no, this one I shouldn't do, because that will take ages again, and then PHP artisan serve. So there you go, and PHP artisan serve. Let's go, please. And it's still working, by the way. So it's doing stuff that I want to do myself, which I really, really hate. You know, it's doing the npm builds that I'm doing here. Just don't try to do everything, you bloody AI. So frustrating sometimes. Build in 8.3 seconds. Build in 9.96 seconds. Dude, I'm doing exactly the same as what you're doing. Please stop. Stop. Anyway, while this continues, I can go back to my admin, refresh this monster. Fuck off, man. I don't want that. I really hate that it does that. Taking forever to load, by the way. Fuck off with your agents. This is why I don't update cursor that often. Fuck off, man. Don't. Like, this is how they take a ride with you, man. I don't want to spend all these tokens. Fuck off. Okay, well, if it ever loads, it doesn't. Jesus Christ. Like, how can it be so bad? This is the simplest stuff. So that worked. It's the admin that didn't work again. Refresh. What I also don't know is why isn't there... Oh. No, why isn't... No, I don't give a shit. Okay. So, pretty cool with the spotlight effect. That's pretty decent. Okay. So this is pretty great. Yep. All right, finally, this is starting to look like something. And this one, like, it has to load first. Once it's loaded, and this will be much faster once it's on my server. Once it's loaded, this will be in the cache, which means that from now on things will move faster. But I really like this. I think this is great. It unfolds from the position of the ball, which is pretty cool. It folds back up to the position of where it was, except for when I scroll. You know, it doesn't take that into account, but I don't really mind because scrolling will disappear. Once this has unfolded, only the paper will be scrollable. So that's kind of neat. The admin side, let's refresh this again and see what has happened. Yeah, and so basically I think this is pretty good. I'm going to push this to Git, add all the files, and oh, there you go. Now you see, no, anyway, version 1.0, 0.1 of hire.co includes the basic ID of nodes, unfolding and crumpling back to homepage, Filament used as CMS, a bit buggy, but has big potential. Yeah, I'm the worst at writing these commit messages, but yeah. First steps are done. IR baboon. Okay, and then I'm going to push this to the server or to GitHub, and that will basically be a safe point for any future work, which is cool. So any changes, let's see what's happening here. So these are uncommitted changes, right? No, oh, there's problems. Oh my god. Okay. This still doesn't work. I don't care. Yeah, this is pretty nice. And so, yeah, I'm going to stop the video for now. Basically, this is part one of me building the website. Probably be 1.5 hours longer than I had hoped. Like, I'm going to optimize this. Obviously, I also still want a place where I can showcase my projects, my current projects and my old projects, the ones I sold, and yeah, do some more optimizations. That will probably be a new video, but the basic foundation is here. I'm pretty happy with the way this works, and it looks pretty neat. So the folding and unfolding of paper, that's pretty cool, right? Like, I'm pretty happy with this. And so one thing I have to check is once I'm here and I open a page without navigating to it from the home page, it shows up blank, which is great. And in the source code, it shows the actual content on the page, which is nice. And if I click this away, then I go to the home page. And from there, this entire mechanism starts working again. Cool. All right, see you in the next one.